Now, steps 9 and 10 completes the accounting cycle. We're closing out the books and we're going to prepare a post-closing trial balance. So recall in the income statement for Lopez Delivery, for the month ending June 30th, we have revenue of $104,000. And that represents all the transactions that earned revenue during that month, as well as these expenses. They were all zero at the beginning of the accounting period. At the end of the accounting period, these are their balances. So the total expenses are $42,200 and the net income is $61,800. What we have to do now is close out the revenue account and all the expense accounts. That is, bring them to zero. We begin with the revenue. The revenue had a credit balance. So to bring it to zero, we debited it $104,000 and we credit income summary. Next, all the expenses have debit balances in the general ledger, so we create a journal entry crediting each one of them throughout the general ledger, all the expenses, and we debit income summary. Then finally, we close out income summary to retain earnings. Income summary had a debit balance of $42,200 and it had a credit balance of $104,000. So with another debit to income summary of $61,800, I close out income summary and I increase the retained earnings by $61,800. There's only one more thing to do, and that is to close out the dividend account. And lastly, we close it out to retained earnings. This time retained earnings goes down, and by posting a credit to dividends, we will bring it to a zero balance. So now in my general ledger, I then post the first one. That was a debit to service revenue and a credit to income summary. Well, you'll see now that service revenue has $104,000 on debit side, $104,000 on the credit side, so it has a zero balance. Now for the expenses. Each one of those expenses will be credited. Utility expense, supplies expense, rent expense, depreciation, salaries expense, and so on, and the debit is to income summary. Then the next journal entry was to close out income summary, and to close out income summary I further debited $61,008 and I credit retained earnings $61,800. So you see, all these expense accounts now have zero balances, and my retained earnings increased by $61,800 and decreased by $110,000. So that has effectively eliminated my revenue accounts, my expense accounts, my dividends, and my income summary. All I'm left is with my balance sheet accounts, and my balance sheet then, Lopez Delivery, post-closing trial balance, and I list the debit balance accounts and I list the credit balance accounts, and we balance, and we are ready to start the month of July. And that completes the accounting cycle for the month of June. Now, this repeats itself. Every month we repeat this cycle because we are preparing monthly statements. And that concludes then chapter 4.